Immigration, jobs, healthcare costs. They're issues Americans are talking about, but will they come up in tonight's State of the Union address?
And here in Kentucky, lawmakers head back to work today where the pension issue is expected to be a hot topic. And fire victims in California could face a big decision if they decide to accept some federal funding from FEMA.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 5:30 on Tuesday, February 5th. I'm Will Puckett. Well, it's going to be a rainy couple of days, so get ready for your rain jacket all day. Get your umbrella ready, some rain boots, because Brandon's bringing a soggy forecast with, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, quite a bit of rain on our way, possibly Thursday, right?
Wednesday through Friday.
Okay.
So today we're in pretty good shape, just spotty showers today. So enjoy it because temperatures still going to be mild. Let's take a look at the cameras this morning. US 119 up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain this morning. All quiet up there as you head through the first part of your Tuesday. Welcome to Tuesday. Last 6 hours, a few showers across the area on satellite and radar loop, but again, spotty is going to be the word of the day. Temperatures very mild this morning. Leave those jackets behind. 51 Harlan, Hazard, and up toward Middlesboro, we're looking at 58 in Prestonsburg, 56 in Pikeville, 53 out toward London. Look at the change. 23 degrees warmer in Ashland this morning, 21 degrees in Middlesboro. Forecast, though, chances for spotty showers back and forth throughout the day as we top out right around 65. The rest of that forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon, thank you. Well, tonight is the night President Donald Trump finally gets the opportunity to deliver his State of the Union address. It was originally supposed to happen last week, but it was postponed because of the government shutdown. Our Washington Bureau's Ted Fiorliso tells us the president will call for cooperation and compromise.
President Trump's second State of the Union address is titled Choosing Greatness, and it will cover 5 major topics. According to a senior administration official, they include the president's vision for a, quote, safe and legal immigration system, although it's not certain if the president will declare a national emergency for building a wall on the Mexico border. Next, protecting American workers. The administration says Americans have been hurt by decades of flawed trade deals, and the president will call on Congress to approve the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement.
This is a terrific deal.
The next topic is something the president has been talking about for years and wants action on: investment in infrastructure. The president will also discuss lowering the cost of health care and prescription drugs. Finally, we'll hear about the administration's diplomatic and military efforts and the president's desire to bring to an end, quote, endless foreign wars. Tonight's speech comes as another shutdown looms if Congress and the White House can't come to a funding agreement. The senior administration official says the president will call on Congress to reject the politics of resistance. Former Georgia gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams will deliver the Democratic response. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says she understands what middle and working class people go through. Reporting on Capitol Hill, I'm Ted Fiorliso.
Now you can watch the State of the Union address tonight at 9 p.m. right here on WYMT. Meanwhile, lawmakers get back to work in Frankfort later today. The Senate gavels in at 2 and the House at 4. The first group to meet, though, will be the Public Pensions Working Group. Their meeting begins at 9:30 this morning. They have been tasked to come up with a plan for Kentucky's failing pension system. Lawmakers are also expected to discuss medical marijuana and school safety before the short session ends. Well, Kentucky's newest Supreme Court justice was sworn in on Monday. Deborah Embry Lambert was elected in November. Her district covers 27 counties in southern and south central Kentucky. She previously served as an appellate judge. Before that, she was a circuit judge for Lincoln, Pulaski, and Rockcastle counties. Well, Clay County officials say the number of expired licenses in their county has increased in the past year. Since the government stopped sending notices out reminding people to get their license renewed, more and more people are forgetting to head to the DMV. Since November, 296 licenses have expired in Clay County alone. The clerk's office says they are trying to contact people to let them know, but the list just keeps getting longer. If you go more than a year without renewing your driver's license, they say penalties start to rack up.
If you go over a year, you have to take the written test over, which is like the permit test. If you go over 5 years, you have to completely start over. A good way to look at it is every year on your birthday, because it runs out a month after your birthday, look at your driver's license.
Now, officials say the new Kentucky license will allow you to wait up to 8 years before having to renew. To West Virginia now, where the education omnibus bill that we have been telling you about is now heading to the House of Delegates. Educators like Dina Adkins have made their voices heard in opposition to the more than 100-page multi-part bill. Teachers unions are even in the process of authorizing a work stoppage vote as the bill moves forward. Now they're watching closely as delegates are up next to decide its fate.
Well, of course, it's disappointing that the Senate voted to pass the omnibus bill, but we were expecting that. Nothing surprises us, but it does disappoint us.
Many delegates say the bill will not pass the House easily, and there is much more debate and discussion to be had. Well, the West Virginia Supreme Court has issued new administrative policies following an impeachment scandal last year. The policies released Monday address state-owned computer systems, the use of purchasing cards, court-owned equipment, and other assets, court travel, and accounting practices. 4 justices were impeached in August over questions involving lavish office renovations that evolved into accusations of corruption, incompetence, and neglect of duty. Well, turning to national news now, there is a new set of problems for the victims of the Camp Fire in Paradise, California. Families could be forced from their homes for a second time if they choose to accept federal relief. City officials originally let some survivors set up trailers on their property not long after the fire destroyed their homes. But now hundreds of them are being asked to move again.
They've already uprooted their life one time, and it's going to be traumatic for people.
The Paradise Town Council had previously approved an ordinance allowing people who had been burned out of their homes to bring in those trailers. But FEMA now says that fire debris must be removed before a property can be reoccupied. Since the city is broke, they need the FEMA funds to help rebuild. Local businesses were evacuated after a blast near an Albuquerque strip mall on Monday. Authorities say there was no specific target and the blast was not tied to any terrorist activity. Members of Albuquerque Fire and Rescue happened to be in the area at the time. The bomb squad was called to the scene. The device appears to have been improvised. One person was killed. Police are looking into his possible involvement with the blast. Well, an East Tennessee business owner is facing charges after his business was raided. It happened Monday at Tazewell Tobacco in Claiborne County. An employee at the store had been cited in the past for illegal alcohol sales to minors. During the raid, officers found Ravi Patel, the store's owner, had padlocked the coolers to keep people out. His selling privileges have been suspended until he meets with the Tazewell Beer Board. From murders to attempted bombings, crimes motivated by hate are being left out of a federally mandated program to count those heinous acts of violence. Our national team, Investigate TV, has found one of the agencies required by law to participate. The FBI does not appear to be reporting its own investigations. Lee Zurich investigates the measure of hate.
New numbers from the FBI show Americans reported more hate crimes last year.
Federal statistics.
More than 7,000 reported nationwide.
Reported in news stories across the world.
A new FBI report has found a spike in hate crimes in the United States.
But what you may not realize is that a national expert calls those statistics
just incomplete and unreliable.
Every year, the FBI releases hate crime data, and every year that data is wrong.
And they talk about all these numbers as if they're accurate, and they're not.
The most visible hate crime event of 2017 in Charlottesville, Virginia, led to the death of 32-year-old Heather Heyer. James Fields drove to the rally from Ohio and killed Heyer, running over her with his car. Federal prosecutors charged Fields with 29 counts of violations of the Hate Crime Act. But in the third quarter of 2017, when Fields killed Heyer, federal hate crime data indicates Charlottesville had 0 hate crimes.
There's obviously a huge flaw in the reporting system.
Investigate TV reviewed the FBI hate crime data for several years and found many stories like this. We found multiple cases from murder to attempted bombing where suspects admitted they attacked because of hate. None of these crimes counted in the data.
If the information that is being generated, obtained, disseminated is faulty, what does it matter?
Congress makes the Department of Justice collect and publish hate crime data from law enforcement agencies across the country, but Congress doesn't require local agencies to submit. It's voluntary, and we found thousands don't submit anything. But there's more. On the FBI's own website, it writes participation in the FBI hate crime data set is mandated for federal law enforcement agencies. But our investigation found the FBI doesn't follow that mandate. Since September, the FBI has declined multiple requests for interviews and information. When Heather Heyer's mother hears the yearly news reports,
shocking statistics from the FBI.
She knows the reality. We live in a country that isn't accurately calculating the depth of hate.
If hate crimes are as underreported as they seem to be, what exactly is happening? We don't even know.
Reported more hate crimes last year. The total number.
Now, the FBI has stated publicly for several years that it has plans to start reporting crime data as required by law. But our team still found no FBI numbers in the most recent hate crime statistics. Coming up on Mountain News this morning, an Iowa family gets a special surprise earlier this week.
The mild spring-like air continues for most of the week, and some records could fall when it comes to temperature. I'll have the latest forecast in a few minutes.